Apologize for being a little late. We just need 4 members to have a quorum. And so we have Councilman Crandall. Maybe I'll do a roll call. Councilman Ertel.
Here.
Councilman Crandall.
I think I'm here.
Councilman Marks.
I'm here remotely.
We have a quorum, so we can begin. So again, apologies for being late. We're going to go through some of the appointees first. Then we'll go through, well, we only have, for the agency heads, we only have 1 speaker today, so we'll move through this fairly quickly from the public. Okay, so first, item 1 is reappointment to the Revenue Authority. We have Tony St. John. Ms. St. John.
Councilman, I'm trying to make her a panelist, but
Okay.
it apparently is not working. Let me try unmuting her. That is why she's not on any longer. She was on earlier. She's
Okay.
not, I've refreshed my attendee list, and she's no longer on our attendee list.
Ms. Belcastro, if she's able to make it back on, please let us know.
Will do.
Thank you. Our next item is item 2. It's the Baltimore County Ethics Commission and Chair Mandy Heinel. Is this appointment for Chair? Mandy, haven't we seen you a couple of times, Ms. Heinel? Oh, wait, you're unmuted, Ms. Heinel.
Can you hear me?
Ms. Heinel, are you hearing us?
I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Yes, I feel like I'm a frequent flyer. I think I am back now for appointment as chair. I'm happy for the record to just restate, my name is Mandy Heinel. I'm an attorney at Saul Ewing. I spent the last 15 years in government. I'm really passionate about ensuring government operates with impartiality and transparency. Thanks to this body, I've had the last few weeks to jump in with 2 feet to the commission's work, and I'm really excited at the opportunity to lead the commission, to chair the commission. So I'm grateful for your consideration, happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Ms. Heinel. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share with Ms. Heinel? Okay. Ms. Heinel, I'd just like to thank you, as I did in earlier hearings, for your fine work, not only in the beautiful 2nd District, but also things you've done across the county, your work with Senator Van Hollen, and you've been really committed to making things better in the place where we all live. So thank you, Ms. Heinel.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, our next
Chair.
item is,
Mr. Chair,
yes,
Ms. St. John is on by phone now.
excellent. Ms. St. John, I apologize for not getting to you a little earlier. We started a bit late, but we're delighted to have you as a reappointment to the Revenue Board. Would you like to say a few things about your work on the Revenue Board, Ms. St. John?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I apologize about that. I was talking before, but I think you couldn't hear me. So I have been on the Revenue Authority Board since 2020. I think that was the start of my first term. And I've really enjoyed learning more in depth about their work and contributing to their mission of serving Baltimore County residents. So I would be, very honored and happy to continue for a 2nd term on the board. I'm happy to answer any questions about that.
Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share with Ms. St. John? Well, Ms. St. John, I just want to thank you for the things that you've done. I just wanted to, St. John, are you a resident of the beautiful 2nd District of Baltimore County?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's outstanding. I really appreciate all the things you've done to make our county a great place.
Thank you so much.
Any additional questions for Ms. St. John? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is the Baltimore County Animal Hearing Board, Ms. Christine DeCourse. Ms. Christine DeCourse.
Yes, hello, everyone.
Hello, Ms.
You
DeCourse.
okay?
Yes.
Okay. Again, my name is Christine DeCourse. I believe this is my third term with Baltimore County Hearing Board. I'm currently the vice chair. So a little bit about me is I was in the corporate world for about 25 years. I left and became involved in animal welfare. It was always my passion. I had a animal training and behavior business for many years. I started off working with the Baltimore Humane Society as a part-time volunteer. And eventually, several years later, they asked me to take over as the executive director. I declined a couple of times. And then finally, they convinced me to join and run the organization. So again, I've been on the Animal Hearing Board. This will be my third term. It's something that I really enjoy. I've learned a lot, and I'm just happy to be here again.
Thank you so much, Ms. DeCourse. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts for Ms. DeCourse? Ms. DeCourse, I'm going to take the liberty of speaking for my colleague, Councilman Wade Catch. Thank you for your for residing in the thriving 3rd District of Baltimore County. And I know that Councilman Catch would be really proud of that.
Thank you so very much.
Thanks. Okay, next item. And, you know, we are really covering a lot of the beautiful 2nd District of Baltimore County because our next appointment, and this is not a reappointment, but an appointment, is for Miss Karen Williams. Miss Williams, come on up. And Miss Williams, if you step right over there and turn the mic on. And Miss Williams is up for appointment as the 2nd District Rep for the Police Accountability Board. Ms. Williams, just want to tell us a little bit about yourself? Appreciate it.
Yes. Hi, my name is Karen Williams, and I am president of the Huntington Community Association, which resides in District 2. I am my degree is in social sciences. I have been a business owner for over 15 years in Baltimore County. The reason why once I was asked if I would participate on this board, I was really excited about it because I believe in the Baltimore County Police Department, but I also understand that there are issues with transparency and accountability. And I think that a board like this would be very important when you have a microcosm of people. I feel like my background really speaks to the fact that I am able to pull from different trains of thought to kind of bring about a resolution that I think will be great for the county, the community, as well as the police department. And I am so honored to be sitting here right now, and I'm open to any questions you may have.
Thank you so much, Ms. Williams. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share? Well, I do. Ms. Williams, I just want to say to everyone here that Ms. Williams is an outstanding community leader. She heads up the Huntington Community Association. For those of you not familiar where Huntington is, it's just northwest of the Baltimore City-County line. It's kind of near Reisterstown Road Plaza, but also near Campfield Elementary, kind of in between those two. And so Ms. Williams, she's really a dynamic leader. Her meetings are very worthwhile to the residents that live in Huntington and other people that participate. If you want to attend, they're held at Campfield Elementary School.
Yes.
And so just want to thank you for your leadership in the community, Ms. Williams. And
thank you.
You know that I'm going to support you.
All right. Thank you.
Councilman Jones?
Yeah, Ms. Williams, I guess I want to thank you for stepping up, making yourself available. This is a very important task. the fact that you signed up to do it is noteworthy. So we certainly appreciate you very much.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks again, Ms. Williams. Okay, our next item is okay. We have Mr. Jonathan Sachs. Come on down, Mr. Sachs. And this is a item related to grants, FY 2025 Arts and Sciences Grant. Okay. What are the entities that are being funded through this, Mr. Sachs? Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Give me just 1 second. Oh, here we go. Okay, thank you. These are all really strong organizations. Interesting, now I was trading calls with the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra, and I was waiting for them they said they would get back to me with some information, never heard back. If you wouldn't just prompt them, Mr. Sachs, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Councilman.
Thank you. Hi, Mr. Sachs. How are you?
Good, Councilman, how are you?
Thank you. I think when this matter comes before us, this is the first time, I think, in your tenure that you are presenting arts and sciences grants to us. It seems to always come up. For the organizations, and I'm not going to pick each one, but maybe for the organizations headquartered in Baltimore City that are receiving, I would think, $100,000 or more, is there, and forgive me, I have not looked at this yet, but do we have data supplied to us yet on impact to Baltimore County residents in terms of participation, youth programs that Baltimore County youth might participate in these organizations that are outside of the county?
Yes, that is part of the reporting requirements on the grants. So we have visibility into that, into how many county residents are using these different assets, what kind of programs that they're doing directly within the county. Those are all tracked.
They are. I'm wondering if we can get those before Monday evening.
Sure.
Or at least
yeah,
a
I can get that
snapshot
for you. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. Thank you. I realize that we get a report every year, but if I'm not mistaken, the report is after the fact.
Okay.
So
that's not as helpful.
well, I mean, it's a good report to see where our money is going and the impact that it has. But just to have some at the outset before we approve the allocation might be helpful.
Sure, Councilman.
Right.
Happy to provide that.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Crandall. Do any of the members have any? Councilman Young?
Chairman, Mr. Sachs, just wanted sort of different line. I know that all the grants run through your office, especially with this piece, and we may have talked about this briefly and before your tenure. One of the organizations, or a few of the organizations, were expecting funds, but they didn't necessarily come in the year that they were expecting or allocated. And I know that there was some staffing issues. I didn't know if there was anything in terms of enlightenment you could provide to us on. After the money was allocated, wasn't seen in that fiscal year, but then eventually back funded.
Thank you. Yeah, so these issues have come up in a few different organizations. I feel confident that we've ironed out some of the timing issues that we've had. One of the issues that we've had is just the process a little cumbersome to process. and are to see through. And we've had a number of different staff kind of take a small piece of each component of this. We actually recently hired, we're onboarding a dedicated person to do arts and sciences grants within our department. I have to give credit to Sam O'Neill, who's been a huge advocate for this. But we have somebody dedicated in the department who we've hired who will be starting in September. And our existing fiscal team has made sure that the timing lines up. So that's part of the reason why we're here now, is we're looking to make the process earlier so that it aligns more seamlessly to the fiscal needs of these relatively small organizations that we're funding.
And I just also want to point out, I appreciate the conversation that you've been willing to have with me too, and your interest in, we are very heavy on arts, but not so much on sciences when it comes to the grants. So also looking forward to working with you all and that staff person in coming up with ideas and how we can support focusing whether equally or at least somewhat on sciences as well, or finding other ways to enhance programs around the county and around the region that focus on science as well as arts. So.
Definitely, Councilman. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, any additional questions for Mr. Sachs? Thank you so much, Mr. Sachs, and thank you for the great job you're doing.
Thanks.
Okay, next item is Mr. Gutwald. Tax on vacant structures. Mr. Gutwald, tax on vacant structures.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the County Council. Bill 6324 establishes a new tax on vacant structures as authorized under state law. As you are aware, last year in the 2024 legislative session, the Maryland General Assembly passed House Bill 2, allowing local jurisdictions to establish a special rate for vacant and abandoned properties. That's exactly what 6324 does, sets a tax rate on vacant structures that have been designated as vacant and unfit for habitation or authorized use on a housing or building violation. As you are aware, back when we passed Bill 523, the county established a process for identifying what are vacant houses and what qualifies as vacant and abandoned. Based on that information, the property with a structure that has been designated as vacant and unfit for habitation or otherwise authorized use may be taxed at $10 per $100 assessed value. One half of the revenue will be directed to the neglected property fund, community fund, and one half shall be designated to the Housing Opportunities Fund. As of actually this morning, we had 36. I know the fiscal report says 31, but now we're up to 36 ones that are deemed vacant and unfit for habitation. And based on that, and we did an average cost of those properties, and somewhere around $700,000 is the expected revenue. With that, I'll conclude my testimony and open it up for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Gutwald. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share with Mr. Gutwald? Mr. Councilman Young?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate you bringing this bill forward and from the administration. I want to give you a chance to tell us about the tax rate that you decided, $10 per $100 of assessed value. Just wanted to get a little insight into the.
I think that is a benchmark of what other jurisdictions are doing around the country for this type of tax structure.
So pretty much standard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Okay.
No worries. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Councilman Young. Councilman Crandall.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hi, Mr. Gutwald. So the tax is assessed, and let's assume that the tax is paid. Where does the money go? Does it go into the general fund? Does it go into the fund for other purposes?
Half of it goes to the neglected property community fund, which allows us to go in and raise the building, secure the building, deal with all the other violations. If you recall, back about 3-4 years ago, we passed that legislation. So all non-tax lien monies, fines and association and the like go into that community fund, go into that to deal with the blighted properties and code violations. The other half of the money from this fund will go to the Housing Opportunities Fund, which allows for assistance in developing affordable housing or workforce housing. So it's specifically designated to two different funding funds. Yeah.
I brought this up to the administration when we were briefed on this particular bill some time ago. The current sort of system that we use or process that we use is that if the county incurs expenses, boarding up a house, cutting the grass, expenses are incurred, they ultimately become a tax lien.
Non-tax lien, yeah.
I'm sorry?
It's a non-tax lien. Sorry.
And then the possibility of the property going up for tax sale through Baltimore County, correct?
Potentially, yeah, correct.
If the lien is not paid.
Correct.
Okay. So my question has been, if I'm wondering how much teeth, and I mean I support all of your efforts on that we've done so far on vacant structures. I think we've made a lot of progress in this area. But I guess my concern is that if we basically the current process is that we fine a property, if the fines aren't paid, the county incurs expenses, there is a lien. So my concern is if we move forward in the same way and we have an owner of a derelict property that does not pay this basically the penalty, this penalization tax, and they don't pay it, then it just goes to lien and they don't really care anyway because most people don't pay the liens at all. So it was my recommendation, it has been for a few years, that we look into actually hurting people in their pocketbooks, which is this non-payment of code enforcement fines or a penalty tax such as this one would affect a business or an individual's credit rating and affect their pocketbook, as opposed to, I'm just wondering how much teeth does this actually have to incentivize derelict property owners to get the property back in shape or to sell it to someone who will? Because is this really going to work?
So coupled with a couple of different things, I should say, everything that we've done over the past couple of years, the Unsafe Structures Act, then we also have modified, we actually had this in laws, and I think I explained it, but we changed some of the timing when penalties start to occur or when we get out there. Instead of waiting for it, we've upped the time on that kind of stuff, like tall grass and weeds. We've upped the time on all of that. But also we've started to do injunctions. So that will file, basically, criminal penalties against somebody. That gets us into, district court with the individual. So that kind of will hurt their livelihood if they don't come to fruition. And I can tell you from just our experience with sending them the letters that we're about to file an injunction against you, because of this, that has brought people up forward. They have come forward. Of the properties that we currently are deemed unfit, we got 3 on our, we're raised 2. We're onto the third one to knock it down as well. I understand your concern, but of the other 28 or so, we actually, with the letter designating them as vacant and abandoned, we've gotten them to come in and actually talk to us. Many of them are working through a permitting process to come to build it, bring it back to, to be habitable. Others we continue to monitor, but I have been surprised with just the registry of how many of these and I'm really only monitoring, I know there's 435 of these things, but of the ones that are hitting tier, what we call tier 3, how many of them, 80 to 90% of them are at least actively engaged with my building engineer and, you know, staff to get a permit and get it improved. So I think it's another tool in the toolbox to incentivize them to move a little faster, because some of them have taken forever, and you're probably aware of the ones in your districts that have, you know, we constantly are going, you know, asking them, where are you with this, and moving slower. I think if we start adding, you know, a tax lien on top of it, that'll incentivize them to spend a little more money quicker. So.
Okay, I fully understand you. So it appears that given the legislation that we've done in the past few years, that it's enabled your office and code enforcement, your office in particular, to be more aggressive with both timeframes and the injunction aspect that you've employed, which I don't believe the county has a history of doing that. That's fairly new, correct?
Oh, yeah, I've only done it once here, and apparently it used to be done years ago, because it's on the books. No, it just wasn't exercised, and now I'm exercising it.
Okay. So a property owner would receive notice, basically a warning that if you don't take care of this,
we're going to take you to court.
We have to take you to court.
Yep.
Okay. That is a different stance than what I've been used to in the last, well, almost 2.5 terms. So I do think it's a step in the right direction, and actions being taken on some of these vacant properties that have been hanging out there for years with very little action.
Right.
So appreciate your efforts on this, Pete. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Crandall. Any of the members have any additional questions, comments, or thoughts? Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Marks. Yes.
thank you all. Thank you very much, and thank you for letting me join you remotely until the meeting tonight. Mr. Gutwald, I just want to thank you for your help with the Carrington property. I think this is probably one of the properties he was just alluding to, a long vacant property in White Marsh that actually went up in flames on August 5th. And candidly, I think we're lucky that there'd been so much rain, or that fire could have been a lot worse. This legislation is, I think, tough for some of us, but I did speak to state legislators who were pretty conservative, and they supported this in Annapolis because they recognize that there have to be tools to deal with their responsibility, and that's what we're dealing with here. But I just want to thank you, Mr. Gutwald, for all your assistance in getting the Carrington derelict property dealt with.
You're welcome. We are moving fast and furious with that, by the way, Councilman. I got the PO order, I got the estimate done, and we got the contractor on board. So.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you, Councilman Marks. Any additional questions, comments? Well, Mr. Gutwald, fast and furious is a good mode of operation, so appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, we have one. Okay. Hang on, Mr. Gutwald. We have a speaker coming up.
Okay.
Ms. Belcastro?
Certainly, Mr. Chair. We have one speaker for this item, Ari Plout.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. I'm Ari Plout. I'm here on behalf of the Greater Baltimore Board of Realtors. We didn't really take more of a neutral position on this issue. We just had some question. The bill lacks some clarification on how the process is set up, and we just kind of wanted to know. And I think Mr. Gutwald alluded to this in his testimony, but if there could be more clarification on the process, for example, who determines if the property is unfit? How is this done? Is there an appeal process? Is notice provided? And if so, how is the notice provided? Is there a dispute process? So that's the message I wanted to relay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Plott. Okay. Mr. Gutwald, you've noted that, and so we'll conclude on this particular issue.
Okay. Did you want me to answer the question?
If you would like to, yeah, go right ahead.
Sure. I just mentioned that it's
go right ahead,
that
Mr.
is outlined in Bill 523, the previous bill, and how how we assess, who assesses. Yes, there is notification. There's a whole process to letting people know. There is an appeal process. If you disagree that a property is vacant, that is all outlined in Bill 523 that was originally done. All this is establishing the tax, the vacant tax bill. So.
Thank you, Mr. Gutwald.
Sure.
Fast and furious. Okay, our next item, we're going to shift around for just a second, and we're going to go to Mr. Secretary, what item are we going to go to next?
I believe it's fiscal matter 11, Mr. Chairman, the contract of sale with the Bowley's Quarters Investments LLC.
Gotcha, okay. And we have Mr. Samir Sid coming up. Okay, fiscal matter 7.
Is that better? All right, thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Patoka and members of the County Council. My name is Samir Sid, Deputy Administrative Officer over Economic Development and Infrastructure, and I'm here today requesting your support for the acquisition of over 84 acres of the former CP Crane coal plant site for our park system. The county is intending to use $10 million in prior appropriation from our state program open space allocation to preserve this waterfront property for park usage in perpetuity. So in general, I think this is a really important deal for us, and it's one that we've been working on for some time, and there are a couple key reasons why. First is just the straight benefit to our park system. This property is potentially a regional draw, and not just for the county's 5th district, but beyond. As I mentioned at the top, the property that we're acquiring, it's 84 acres, and it is directly on our county's eastern waterfront. I've been out to the site a few times. If you haven't seen it yet, I encourage you to do so. Personally, I feel our waterfront property in this county is one of the more underrated assets that we have, and preserving a site like this, I think it's going to be of real value to our county and our residents, not just in that area, but from a broader countywide perspective. In addition to that, from a park perspective, this acquisition builds on our growing green infrastructure network in that part of the county. If you look at a map within a 5-mile radius of this site, you have 5 state and county parks: Miami Beach, Benjies Walters, Eastern Regional, Marshy Point, and Gunpowder State. The site itself is set up to support a trail that feeds into Eastern Regional Park and add to the county's preserved waterfront acreage. So there's some real value there as well. In addition to that, it's an important deal just from the broad array of stakeholders that are supporting this acquisition. And it starts from all levels of government. Of course, we're using program open space funding for acquisition purposes. But from a post-acquisition standpoint, we have both federal and state funding to support our work to make some minor development to the site. In FY24, our federal delegation worked to secure a near $1.7 million federal earmark, and in that same fiscal year, our state delegation secured a $1.25 million grant to support post-acquisition work at the site. So in total, we have nearly $3 million lined up to support work after our purchase, in addition to the $10 million in state program open space funding that we're using to acquire the property. Within county government, the administration has worked closely with Councilmember Marks. Candidly, this was not an easy deal for a variety of reasons. And Councilmember Marks has been a good partner in troubleshooting some different issues that have come up. So I want to thank him for his partnership. And then within the community, there's been steadfast advocacy for this acquisition for some time, specifically from the Bowley's Quarters Improvement Association. So I want to acknowledge that while I have the time. Quickly on the deal terms and a few key points. First, the purchase price. It's a $10 million acquisition. It's actually below both appraisals that we conducted. We conducted 2 as required by program open space, one at $10.57 million, another at $14.42. So this is below those. We conducted a review appraisal as well internally, And even the most conservative per acre estimate there was $120,000 per acre. At 84 acres, it's even below that estimate as well. From a post-acquisition standpoint, we're still working out those details through design and engineering, but the uses will be of a more passive nature than we'd see in terms of like an active recreation site with ball fields and so forth. That's designed to reduce traffic into the site and limit costs associated with park development. We do think there's a real opportunity for rails to trails conversion that now takes dormant railroad tracks at the site, converts it to a trail, and connects to Eastern Regional Park, and we're going to be exploring that opportunity. The last thing I'll touch on very quickly as well, the seller is retaining 33 acres to develop a battery storage facility on site. This is an element that's been kind of a part of the negotiations from the beginning since we started those discussions. And while it's not associated with our plans for the property that we're acquiring, battery storage is a critical component of broader efforts to support the generation of renewable energy. It's something that the state incentivizes through an MEA tax credit. And it oddly represents the coming of full circle of this site, transitioning from a coal energy plant for decades to support renewable generation and to preserve a lot of waterfront acreage as parkland into the future. And so I'll stop there and open it up to any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Sid. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts? Mr. Sid? Councilman?
Yes, Mr. Sid, how many acres did you say this was?
We're acquiring over 84.
84 acres for 10 million?
Yes.
It's not a bad deal.
Thank you.
You, Mr. Chairman?
Oh, hang on, Councilman Ertel's still active.
Sure,
I
absolutely.
don't know if I am, but one thing I always say, and this irks Councilman Marks, but possibly one day we could find a way to put an aid to navigation on that site. And if you're a boater or a pilot, that the power plant that was there served as a beacon all across the bay for that site. And it would be great one day to put some kind of symbolic type, either a tower there or something that maybe complements the park, and kind of, you know, creates a legacy for what was, not that a power plant is a very nice legacy, but it was a landmark in the sense that it was there forever and you could see it from really far away. And a lot of the people down along the waterfront there missed that lighthouse, or what was essentially a de facto lighthouse in the tower, so.
Got it. I won't commit Director Smith anything, but it's something we can look at.
I'm not
as
asking for a
engineer.
commitment.
Okay, Councilman Marks?
Well, thank you. And Councilman Ertel, I'm certainly not irked because many of my constituents feel the same way. That was a landmark for over 6 decades, and people do miss that. I just want to thank you, Mr. Sid, specifically. You have been an absolute champion for this project. We worked very closely over 2 years on this, and I want to thank you. I want to thank the county executive for his strong support, our federal partners, Congressman Rupersberger in particular, our state legislators, Senator Jennings, Delegates Naraki and Jalega. Everyone supports this. This is a terrific project. It is going to help us create a nearly unbroken green area from Carroll Island all the way up to the Hammerman area of Gunpowder Falls State Park. It's a win-win. I hope to share some pictures at our legislative session and hope to have all of you down there when we formally dedicate the park. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Marks. Any additional questions, comments, or thoughts for Councilman Cradle?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Sid, Councilman Marks, I just want to congratulate you both on a job well done, and all the other partners and members of the administration that were involved in this. I think it is a sort of a historic thing for southeastern Baltimore County to be able to preserve this much land on the water and create. I know that right now it looks like passive recreation. David can go to work on Mr. Smith later to maybe if he wants to transition out of that. But along with the new park that's currently under construction at Sparrows Point, which will have amenities and not just passive recreation. It is to create waterfront parks on a waterfront that has largely been industrial in the past, I think is a great transition for us, both recreationally and environmentally. And just to follow on Councilman Ertel, when you first learned to navigate that section of the Upper Bay, Back River, Middle River, Gunpowder area, coming from the Eastern Shore, you look for the candy canes. You're told to look for the candy canes. And of course, the candy canes are no longer there. So I can definitely see why boaters and folks in the community would like to see something there as not only for sentimental value, but it truly was a navigational aid, especially when you're first learning how to read a compass and a chart. So thanks to everybody for getting this thing done. Look forward to voting for it on Monday. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Sure thing. Any additional questions, comments, or thoughts? So thank you, Mr. Sid.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Appreciate it.
Okay. We're going to go back to our regularly scheduled agenda. And we have, next item is Bill 6424, Mr. Richardson. Mr. Richardson, I apologize for hugging you over the weekend, but it just seemed the right thing to do.
Good afternoon, Chairman Patoka. Your hug was fine. It's good seeing you.
Seeing you.
Members of the council, I'm here to present a update to the Baltimore County Code. Essentially, we are getting our code for regulation of distribution of tobacco products and electronic smoking devices in alignment with the state's COMAR. So in a nutshell, what we're doing here is we are changing aspects of our code. Currently, the county, state, and federal law, it is illegal to sell tobacco products, including cigarettes, cigars, and e-cigarettes to anyone under 21. The current county code allows for retailers to sell tobacco to an active duty members of the military who is between the age of 18 and 20. This provision conflicts with federal law and state law. So we are changing our law to eliminate that exemption, and our proposed legislation would align with the current state and county law. Also, currently within county law, retailers are required to verify by means of government-issued identification the buyer's date of birth, that each person purchasing tobacco product or tobacco paraphernalia is at least 21 years of age. However, current county code, this verification is not required for persons over 27. To put us in alignment with the state law, the administration's proposed legislation would raise this standard to 30 years of age to be consistent with state law. And then finally, the administration's proposed legislation would align the county's civil penalty structure with the state's. Currently under county code, the owner or retailer who violates the distribution provisions in any calendar year is subject to a civil penalty as follows: $500 for first violation, $1,000 for a second violation, and $1,500 or suspension of all tobacco sales for 1 month or both for a third subsequent violation. Our proposed legislation would require that an owner who violates the distribution provisions in any 2-year period is subject to a civil penalty of $500 for a first violation, $1,000 for a second violation, and then increasing it from $1,500 to $3,000 for a suspension of all tobacco sales for 1 month or both for a third subsequent violation. Essentially, we are eliminating the calendar year and changing the proposed legislation to be any violation within a 2-year period. And that's the basis of the changes that we are proposing. Be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. Do any of the members have any comments or questions? Councilman Ertel.
Just two quick questions. You said the current law, you're not allowed to buy tobacco products until you're 21, is that correct?
Correct.
But our law allows active military, but federal law doesn't?
Correct.
Okay, so we had some loophole that the feds didn't.
Yeah, we're trying to get.
And that's all we're doing, is that?
For that portion, yes, and then we're changing the civil penalties and also making adjustments to when someone needs to be ID'd. Currently, Baltimore County Code, it is anyone over the age of 27. To make us in alignment with federal law and state law, it would be anyone over the age of 30 would no longer need to be carded.
Okay, and this is maybe kind of a smart aleck question, but hookah lounges, are they subject to the same, do you have to be 21 to get into a hookah lounge?
I'm not sure you have to be 21 to enter, but you should be 21 in order to partake in smoking of tobacco products.
Okay. Do we enforce that? Do we know? I mean, who?
Well, we don't have an enforcement. We do our random checks of establishments and then apply the civil penalty. And upon the third violation, we then would have to go to the court, and then the state alcohol, tobacco, and cannabis would then implement that month suspension of the retailer.
Does the health department enforce that, or is that code enforcement?
Health department. We have tobacco enforcement staff.
All right. We'll have to talk more about that.
Okay, any additional questions for Mr. Richardson? Thank you, Mr. Richardson.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item is Bill 6524. Ms. Renee Coleman, creation of a position of Labor Commissioner.
Good afternoon, Council Chair.
Good afternoon,
and members
Ms.
of the
Coleman.
council. The request is to amend the county executive compensation plan to add the classification of labor commissioner to the exempt service of the county. The labor commissioner shall be located within administrative office and shall be responsible for administering the county's labor relations program in conformance with federal and state laws, county rules and policies, and shall assist with oversight of the daily functions performed. The position will negotiate collective bargaining agreements with all 6 county unions with employee representatives of each union group and act as hearing officer for the final internal step in the employee grievance procedure. We currently have 2 candidates apply for the position, and the interview panel is scheduled to meet to discuss the interview questions and the overall structure of the process.
Thank you, Ms. Coleman. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share with Ms. Coleman? Councilman Jones?
Yes, how are you doing, Ms. Coleman?
I'm good, sir. How about yourself?
Good, good. I'm just curious, was there, what made us decide at this point in time that we needed a labor commissioner?
Well, for one, in terms of the budget, it'll be cost effective in terms of that. So we'll have an actual full-time employee to help assist with not only the negotiations, but the full oversight of all of our employee and labor relations policies and responsibilities.
Right, I guess I was just thinking we're 5 years into this administration, 5 or 6 years into this administration. Why now? Like we went 4 or 5 years without it. Any idea that something happened to make us say we need a labor commissioner now?
Sir, during the last time we bought the contract before council had some reservations with the contract. We had a consultant on board helping us with negotiations and things of that sort. So we moved in a different direction because there were some concerns in terms of approving the consulting contract.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Randall?
Sure. Thanks, Mr. Chair. So it's my understanding through the fiscal note that, just to speak to Councilman Jones' question, the contract is expiring soon, this fall, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so the salary for this new position, as I understand it, the auditors told us today that the This used to be a position in Baltimore County and years ago, but then was done away with, I guess it was done away with a while ago. So this isn't necessarily new to the county. What is the difference between the 100 and, I think the salary range for this position, 147 to 220, around there? Can you refresh our memory in as to the yearly amount of the contract that we're paying the law firm that we hired to do this work for us?
Yes, the contract is $460,000.
A year?
I think it's for a full
Or
term.
for the full term of the contract?
For the full term of the contract, yes.
Okay, so this position would actually, when you talk about salary and benefits, this new position would actually cost us a little bit more per year?
The request is actually to bring the position in at the midpoint, at least up to the midpoint, which is $147,900.
Okay.
And that's based on the class and comp study and this position being identified in that salary range.
Okay. I'm not arguing with it. Yeah, I'm just sort of trying to compare as far as a cost standpoint, compare the two. Have we been satisfied with the work of our contractor for the most part?
Yes.
Okay. So is there, I think the auditors had a question as to just the status of that relationship and the status of that particular contract, which is due to expire, I believe, in November. Did you receive that auditor's question?
Yes, the question was to provide a status update in regarding the hiring process for the labor commissioner.
Okay.
And so we do have 2 candidates that applied for the position. So we're in
Okay.
the middle of scheduling the interviews and getting with the interview panel to come up with the questions for the structure of the process.
Okay, so the job has already been posted?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Appreciate your answers. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councilman Young?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate your answers. So following up, just what you had mentioned too, really part of the impetus for bringing this forward, even bringing this position back, was because of pushback you got from approving a contract. To have the current contract be passed by us was part of the reason for bringing this forward, so that there would be somebody on salary.
From my understanding, yes.
Gotcha. And while the explanation specifically is talking about negotiations, which is obviously what the contract folks are doing now, what role would this person have with PLA agreements with the county?
Say it again, I'm sorry, the last
What role
question.
would this position have with project labor agreements, PLAs with the county, or if any?
No role.
None whatsoever? Gotcha. And nothing related to any discussion or access to expertise related to those discussions with the administration in the future? Nothing?
No.
Nothing? Okay. Understood. No, I'm just asking for.
Employ internal union
Understood.
contracts, yes.
Gotcha. Understood. Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate
You're
it.
very welcome.
Any additional questions, Councilman Ertel?
One clarification. So the current contract for our law firm to do this is $460,000 in a 5-year period. Is that correct?
I thought it was a
5-year term.
Pull it, I don't have it in front, I don't have that contract because we were bringing the labor commissioner, but I can pull the old contract that we had, that we bought before you all.
Does
I don't
that
wanna
sound
say
right?
It's 1 year or 5 years.
Is it?
Probably 4. Kevin said it was probably 4.
Okay, so it's about 120,000 a year, approximately. 115,000 a year. And would the labor commissioner, you know, because obviously we've hired them, they negotiate a contract. Are they doing other things after the negotiation? What is the labor commissioner going to do more things? I
Yes,
guess?
yes. So the labor commissioner will actually oversee our entire employee labor relations program, and that included acting as the hearing officer for all of our grievances that are at the final step before outside of the county.
Who hears the grievances now?
Currently, the Office of Human Resources.
Okay. So that'll take it off your plate.
Yes.
Okay.
And based on some of the studies, that is best practice because Office of Human Resources can be seen as a conflict of interest.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any additional questions? Ms. Coleman, I just have one or two questions. The two candidates that you have, that we finalized, we've narrowed it down to two candidates. Are they internal, external, or?
There are two external candidates.
Two external candidates. I just am a little confounded at the timing of this. Typically, a new administration comes in and, hey, we're looking at the world differently. We're going to form an inspector general's office. We're going to create an inspector general's office. We're going to establish a DEI office. It seems really late in the day after 6 years, and this is a follow-up to Councilman Jones's questions about the timing, because for 6 years we've been doing it a different way, and it just, to me, I'm just puzzled at the timing that it's coming so in the second term, 2 years into the second term. I still don't understand why. Was this something in the transition report 6 years ago, 7 years ago?
No, sir, I can go back and pull the transcript. When we bought the last item up to renew the contract for the firm that we had, there was conversation that you all did not feel comfortable approving the contract. So we needed to go a different direction to fulfill those duties. And that's what started, that is what started the administration to change the process. And we know that the contract is going to end in November, so we needed time to get.
And so this was 5 years ago?
No, this was.
Last year?
This was probably within, it was definitely within the last 2 years. I can pull the transcript though. Definitely within the last 2 years.
Okay, I was just curious.
Chairman?
Yep.
Yes, Councilman.
The contract is about to be, well, there's no plan to renew, at least that was
No.
referenced, but the contract is going to be up soon.
Yes, sir, in
Right, so
November.
that's, if you don't have a contract with somebody and
Yep.
there's nobody in place, then we have nobody
Right.
identified to handle this.
Exactly.
So that seems to be a pretty good reason to, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
It didn't have anything with the change of administration. All of this happened before any conversation about
There
the
was a
change of
labor
administration.
commissioner in the past. In 22, okay.
22 was when the conversation, when we bought the renewal up. It was in 22.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I do recall the conversation that we had that Madam CAO is alluding to, and a number of us did express concerns that we were going to outside counsel for this.
Was it this council, do you recall?
22.
Was it the previous?
Yeah, if it was 22. I don't recall exactly. I know it was a number of years ago.
No, but I mean the current makeup, the current members.
Yes. Yeah, I believe it was. If it was 22, I guess it could have been a previous iteration, right? But
Here nor there.
yeah, so I'm not necessarily as puzzled by the timing or bothered by the timing of this. And I'm not sure whether to be bothered by the fact that the position was posted and interviews are to be scheduled without the council amending the compensation plan to allow for the position. That seems to be a little, I'm not sure if I should be concerned about that, but I don't know if the county should be, I can't recall that this is standard practice. If the county is posting a job for a position that the compensation plan hasn't accounted for yet, I don't know about the appropriateness of that. So if the council, for whatever reason, votes no on 6524, do you tell those folks that have applied so far to the open position, sorry, your position's not funded?
We're actually just reclassifying an already created position. So we will just make sure that those positions, those functions are being placed in-house with the Office of Human Resources. So we'll still be able to continue with having those, the the responsibilities being housed in Office of Human Resources and hire someone within as opposed to identifying under the Labor Commissioner. We would just have to approach the whole process differently.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Okay, any additional questions? Sure thing, Councilman Crandall. Any additional questions, comments? Thank you, Ms. Coleman.
No problem, sir.
Okay. Next item is Mr. Smith, Recreation Council donations, Bill 6624. Afternoon.
Tries again. Good afternoon. The administration is requesting a supplemental appropriation of private funds totaling $18,840 from the now defunct Police Athletic League Board of Directors to the Recreation Council Donations, Gifts, and Grants Fund program. The department has advised that the funds will continue to be used to provide educational, cultural, and athletic experiences for children who may otherwise not have such opportunities. In FY 2024, the department reorganized the county's police athletic, or PAL, centers to recreation activity centers in order to provide recreational, social, and wellness opportunities to a wider range of people in the communities, including programming and space for all ages. The department advised the PAL Board of Directors, the department was advised that the PAL Board of Directors has decided to dissolve at this time and donate the funds comprising the $18,840 to the supplemental appropriation. These funds were previously raised by the Board of Directors to provide funding for educational, cultural, and athletic experiences, and the department's advised will continue to use the funds for the same purposes, such as field trips and supplies.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share with Mr. Smith? Okay, hearing none. Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Smith has one other item.
Okay. Have at it, Mr. Smith.
Page fiscal
Contract
matter
of sale.
10.
Certainly.
Okay, thanks. This is contract of sale, estate of Peter Hanley.
Yes, sir. Yes, Chair. Administration is requesting approval of a contract with the estate of Peter Hanley to acquire approximately 0.517 acres of land for $480,000 to expand the bounds of the adjacent West Towson Park for additional recreational development. The property is located at 604 Central Avenue and zoned DR 3.5. The department has advised that the county obtained 2 appraisals pursuant to program open space policy for review by the Maryland Department of Natural Resources, one by Everett Benfield Advisors recommending $500,000 and one by S.H. Moeller and Associates recommending $460,000. The department further advised that the county used the average of the 2 appraised values as a settlement price. The department also advised the county anticipates full POS reimbursement for this purchase. The total 0.517 acre property to be acquired is improved with a 2-story converted residence into office space, a garage, and approximately 27 marked parking spaces to the rear of the building. The property to be acquired adjoins the county-owned West Towson Park, which includes 2 ball diamonds, sports courts, a dinosaur playground, picnic tables, and limited green space. The department advises that no further definitive plans have been formulated at this time, and the size of the property will limit prospective improvements and uses. Potential viable amenities and uses could include parking for the park, relocation, expansion of the playground, relocation or expansion of sports courts, or just the addition of green space. And we intend to demolish the converted residence, and the quote for demolition has not yet been solicited. Funds for raising the former residence are available within our Parks, Preservation, and Greenways Capital Program.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Any questions? Councilman Artel?
Director Smith and I talked about this issue yesterday. There's a, we don't have a lot of parkland in Towson, especially abutting downtown Towson. And if we're going to use this land that I feel like we're paying a premium for, especially when you look at it compared to what we're paying for 84 acres in Middle River. I my big concern here is that we're not buying this to be a parking lot for the Department of Aging. This needs to be park space for people in Towson. We need some amenity here. The other thing, I don't know what the demolition's going to cost us, but I can imagine that it will probably cost us as much as what we're buying the property for. So I'm not sure that we've got budgeted between that and actually putting in additional space, but nonetheless, it's land we could use. It's just, I want to see us use, and there's also a lot of mature trees there.
Yes, sir.
That I don't know that the community really wants to see all the trees taken down and it become a barren piece of land, especially if it's going to become pervious surface.
Understood, sir.
So hopefully this will be something, an asset and not just a parking lot.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Smith. Any additional questions for Mr. Smith?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Councilman Marks.
Yes, I want to agree with Councilman Ertel. I represented that area for 12 years. It's Councilman Ertel's backyard, but I know that is a beloved park there, and we need to do whatever we can to retain the character of that neighborhood.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Marks. Any additional questions? Thank you, Mr. Smith. Next item is Bill 6824, rental housing licenses. Councilman Ertel.
Okay, so this bill is addressing short-term rentals, and for those of you who may not know that term, it is Airbnbs, Verbos, a lot of different terms that they use for short-term rentals. We looked at how the county deals with short-term rentals and found out that we have no real regulations here in the county that deal with short-term rentals. And what's concerning about that is that there's been a lot of interest from investors to buy properties inside residential neighborhoods and turn them into Airbnbs. And this can be problematic because you bought your home and you're living next to now a hotel that's being rented to people on a fairly constant basis. And we didn't have a lot of regulations to deal with anything, even from the sense of a safety inspection where, again, we're holding out, a lot of times these owners are holding out this property that it's safe, that it has smoke alarms, that it has fire extinguishers, it has ample exits to get out if there's a fire, things like that. We found out, I had a property in Lochraven Village where the owner was claiming that a row home, a Lochraven Village row home, slept 14 people. 2 of the bedrooms were non-permitted in the basement, and the basement had no egress. There was an old stairway that was covered by a deck, so if there was a fire, there was no way to get out of the structure except going upstairs, and if they couldn't, if the first floor was on fire, they were basically trapped. And the reason I bring that up was I talked to the fire marshal's office about that, and because it technically is a home and not a business, which it really is a business, the fire marshal was not able to go into the house to look at what the exit should be. And I said, well, what's going to happen if we have a fatality here? And all the neighbors have been talking about how this property has no way to get out of it if you're sleeping in the basement, which is not a good situation to have. But what's nice about this bill is that it puts some regulations around it. We sent this to the planning board. I had a resolution in 23, 14. 1323, we sent this to the planning board. The planning board and planning department put a really comprehensive report together. They looked at what other counties have done, other jurisdictions, and I think we've come up with a really good set of regulations that aren't onerous. They looked at where other counties have been sued by Airbnb and Vrbo for kind of over restrictive type things, but I feel like we've got a really good bill here, and I'd love everyone's input on it. I know I've sent it around. One of the other things we found out was there is a hotel tax in Baltimore County, and we're not completely sure because we don't really have a registry right now of where the short-term rentals are. So we have no way to really understand whether we're collecting the hotel tax. So instead of someone staying at a Sheraton or a Holiday Inn and paying a hotel tax, they're staying in our county. They're using our services often, our water, our sewage, sometimes our police and fire, trash, and aren't necessarily paying the hotel tax. So that's another piece to this that it warrants having some kind of oversight on it. So I'll take any questions or comments, but like I said, I believe it's a good bill and will help us move forward in the county on this issue.
Councilman Crandall, then Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to thank Councilman Ertel for his leadership on this issue. I believe I co-sponsored that resolution back in 23 with you. I, along with several other council members, have been experiencing some complaints from constituents regarding short-term rentals, and they sort of just seem to pop up and become party houses for a weekend, and there's really no accountability as to what happens on these properties, both before, during, and after they are rented, say, for a long weekend. I don't feel that the bill is an attempt to over-regulate an industry. I do think that it is a measure that brings some clarity to what is really a somewhat new thing in the marketplace. The county code certainly did not contemplate people renting out a residential home for a weekend and doing it online and allowing strangers to rent your home or a room in your home. The same way that Uber and Lyft disrupted the taxi cab market and the transit market. It's a market disruption delivered by new technology that the county simply, in my opinion, has to react to our constituents' concerns that there are businesses, for-profit businesses, opening up in their residential neighborhoods. So there may be details that we might have to iron out over the next couple weeks, and there's one more work session on this, if I'm not mistaken. So, but with that said, I do think that it's the right thing for us to do, to be adding some clarity on on something that is relatively new to Baltimore County. With that, Mr. Secretary, would you add me as a sponsor to this bill, please? Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Crandall.
Councilman Jones?
Yes, thank you, Councilman Ertel and Councilman Crandall. I also like to be added as a co-sponsor. To your point, Councilman Ertel, Councilman Crandall, I'm not sure. I think I had some issues and I ironed it out with, I think it was Director Gutwall, who was explaining how this bill would work and how we would address those concerns in terms of people that it would give an opportunity for people in communities to be able to sort of raise a flag and say, there's a problem here. You know, the person is renting the house out for the weekend. They're having these big pool parties every weekend, clogging up the neighborhoods and, you know, I guess basically causing mischief throughout the community and a big disruption. So I'm pretty sure that I spoke with Director Gutwall in terms of the process. But this is a step in the right direction in terms of providing that process, which is starting with the registry and everything else. So I'll be as a co-sponsor as well. Thank you. Sure.
Okay, thank you, Councilman
Yeah, I
Jones.
sent you an email. Did I send you an email? Telling you I'd like to talk to you about it? Okay, tell me.
Councilman Young?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, also appreciate you bringing the bill forth in my initial conversations with Director Gutwald. I don't know if the administration planned on saying anything in the future about this, but it was mainly also about process and implementing, you know, timelines. I was asking if you could maybe answer for me too, when this was being drafted, if we're using an example from another jurisdiction that already has some short-term rental laws on the books, or if there was any particular Maryland jurisdiction we were using as a model.
The planning department looked at several. I think they looked at Montgomery, Prince George's, Baltimore City, Howard County. It might have even been Frederick County. There were, and they. What was nice is in the summary that they sent us, they had subject matter. They actually had legal questions. There's a lot of good. I can send you that report if you want to see it.
Yep. Yeah.
And pretty much this bill was derived from those recommendations there.
Gotcha.
We were really happy with what planning sent. They really did a very thorough job.
Great. That was leading to, I wanted to ask just or somebody could explain to me too, the reason for requiring the potential renter who's getting the license to list every website, every platform that they're using to advertise? Like what the purpose, or what do we gain from that, or example of where that's in a different jurisdiction?
I'm not sure if that's in our bill.
I think it's page 6, line 12 and 13.
Okay.
Again, this is the first work session. I just wanted to.
Yeah, we'll have to look at that.
It's okay, no worries. I just,
It does create we don't have a short-term license right now.
Absolutely.
So this will be good because the regular rental license really doesn't
absolutely
apply to these kind of situations. And
right.
It gives us a different venue in order to.
No, and I applaud you for your work on this, because since we've gotten here, it's been consistent with your concerns. And I think we all have examples, but different, because you've got a university that we've discussed privately too about the challenges you have with your jurisdiction. I know I have some separate ones that aren't the same, but still related to short-term rentals. So absolutely important to establish. I was just curious about specifics that we can figure out. I just was curious if there was a reason, or if you knew why we were asking for platforms. And the only reason I was asking was from a functionality standpoint too. If you have somebody obtaining a short-term rental, and it looked like too, the time frame is like 3 years. And if this, again, we're establishing this, we don't have it. There are folks that might be trying to rent out a space, like a pool, or maybe we can't do an event space, but renting out a space that doesn't want to do it for 3 years, but they have to get the license for 3 years. And if they're only doing it for a short period of time, what's the need for putting in each platform that they're using? So
And I think some of the rationale between the platforms, and again, I don't know that that's a super important part of the bill. It could always be struck.
And by no means trying to scuttle by nitpicking, just curious. And I'll be happy to take a look at the report and talk with you too.
And I guess it's possible that there could be a site where, like party houses, partyhouses.com, which might give us some kind of, okay, we need to be concerned why, this is on the,
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'll take a look at the report. We can talk, and
good places to have sacrifices or something.
Oh, geez. Didn't think of that one.
But one of the examples I had, Councilman Young, I had a house in Lochraven Village, and the owner of the house it wasn't so much that it was just an Airbnb. He was advertising it as a great place to hold a bachelor party, or a guy's weekend, things like that, where they were literally kind of crossing that line into it being an event venue versus just a place where you're going to the Ravens game, you're coming down from New York and you're spending the weekend at the house and going to the game. This was like an event venue in the middle of a row home community.
I can absolutely see from we're trying to strike that balance, and I appreciate your work on it. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the initial conversation.
Okay, thanks, everybody. That was an interesting discussion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
if I may add, as far as the platforms go, Councilman, I think it's more of an oversight thing. So let's say you apply to the county for your short-term rental license and you tell the county that you are advertising on Airbnb. But then the county goes and does their due diligence in order to grant the permit, and an advertisement for the same property is on Verbo, but says something completely different, as Councilman Nortel just alluded to. So if the county is not aware of that, they might not go to Verbo to check out that property listing. I think it's more of an oversight thing.
Sure, yeah.
So the county may do their due diligence in granting the permit in a more comprehensive way.
I completely see what you're saying. I think also the initial question too about where the ideas came from, because thinking about implementation and planning, absolutely seeing the report from planning would be helpful for me because I haven't seen that report. But to your thing as well, sure, they list 3 and then they go dormant and then they post again within that 3 years. The actual, if we're talking about accountability, the actual application of accountability seems to be tough. And I'm trying to put forth the value of forcing them to add, but then if they decided to go dormant for like 3 months and then come back and then not post it, and then they were looked into, and then it seems like that they didn't post, they were trying to get something around. It didn't meet the requirement, but they still have the license, if they can then be refused a license when they go to renew. Just trying to, again, I'm not trying to nitpick, I'm just, since we're establishing accountability, I just want to make sure that we can actually afford for it.
Yeah, and we'll have to, and we should certainly look at that.
I think it's doable too. None of this is like damning the bill, just making sure that we're, in practice, we can actually, if we're going to put it in there, let's make sure we can actually do it. And if that's the reason, then that's great. But I didn't see it and was just asking from a standpoint of reading it for the first time.
Another point, we not only sent this to planning, but we sent the recommendations to code enforcement, to Adam Whitlock, worked with him on some of the provisions in the bill. And, there's even a provision now where the fire marshal can go into the property. Whereas currently, unless the homeowner invites them in, you can't go in somebody's house. But the fire department all day long can show up to a pizza place and walk in and say, where's the fire extinguishers? Is that correct? Councilman Jones. So this will extend it because it is a business and we need to make sure people are safe where they're staying.
Okay, thanks. Mr. Lang, if you weren't writing it down, it's partyhouses.com.
Partyhouses.com.
Okay. All right. Next item.
Hookah house.
Okay, our next item. What'd you say, Bradley Super? I thought you said Superfly. Did you say Bradley Superfly? Okay. Next.
Super freak mansion.
Okay, moving right along. Next item is Miss Lauren Buckler. We're doing contract with these are fiscal matters. Ms. Buckler.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the County Council. For the record, I'm Lauren Buckler, Acting Director for the Department of Public Works and Transportation. Today, I'm introducing contract 2023-03 on-call consent decree management services. This contract was procured through the Professional Services Selection Committee, commonly known as the PSSC, on March 19th, 2024. The vendor selected for this contract will support the county in their efforts to comply with the 2005 sanitary sewer consent decree. The contract is a 4-year initial term with 3 one-year renewal options with a value of $7 million. There was only one submission received for this contract for WSP. WSP is the current incumbent on the consent decree management contract. They were evaluated from the qualifications committee and determined that they would be able to perform the required functions on the contract. Happy to take any questions that you have.
Any members have any questions, comments, or thoughts? Ms. Buckler, is this countywide
Yes, it is.
or is it specific? You know, I've been concerned about the sanitary sewers between West Joppa Road and Lake Roland. Would they be looking at the condition of those sanitary sewers?
So they're looking at, well, they're doing the compliance with our ongoing consent decree. So if it's part of the consent decree, yes. The Lake Roland structural repair project is not part of the consent decree. That's a separate project within DPWT that's not under consent decree, so not related to this contractor.
Got it. And no relation to the basic services map, or is there a relationship to the basic services map?
It's related to it in the way that we need to be in compliance with the consent decree. So I guess hypothetically, if this contractor didn't do their job and we fell out of compliance, it would impact?
I guess because in the last basic services map, there was some sewer lines that were failed, a month of pipe. And so if that were part of the consent decree, then this firm might examine it. But if it's just an overflow that had, or not an overflow, but a capacity and integrity issue that's not part of the consent decree, then this group would not look at it.
Correct. The structural condition is not part of the consent decree. The consent decree is primarily about structured sewer service overflows. So the county had, let me give you the exact number, 34, and we're down to 10, where of those 10, 6 are in active projects at this point, and there's 4 still
I
hanging
thought there
out
were
there.
some overflows that went into some of the feeders to Lake Roland. Is that it?
Not for Lake Roland. There are still 4 active ones that are not under a project that are on the city-county line, but not into Lake Roland.
Okay. All
That's
right.
where they're
Thank
going.
you. Any additional questions, comments, or thoughts? Okay, thank you, Ms. Buckler.
You're welcome.
Next, we have contract with PAC, Mr. Walt Pesterfield. Wait a minute, that doesn't look like Mr. Pesterfield. Oh, wow, I'm going to tell him you said that. I'm sensitive to those issues. I know. I've been, yes. I know Mr. Pesterfield, and you know Walt Pesterfield. I'm sorry.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and council members.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean.
There we go. Yeah, Mr. Pesterfield is on his way back from Oregon right now. His daughter got married on Sunday.
That's awesome.
So I'm David Greer. I'm the acting deputy director for corrections. The Department of Corrections is requesting a approval of a supplier contract with PAC Industries LLC. The proposed contract includes initial term of 1 year with 4-year renewal options, not to exceed the county council approved appropriation during the entire term of the agreement, including renewal therefore. This contract will be used internally by the Department of Corrections and the Department of Health and Human Services for maintenance and repair of county-owned laundry equipment located at the detention center, animal services, and county shelters.
Thank you, Mr. Greer. Any members have any questions, comments, or thoughts? Thank you so much. And please, I think I can speak on behalf of the council here when we congratulate Mr. Pesterfield on his daughter's wedding.
Thank you. I'll let him know. Thank you.
Okay, next, it says acting director, but that could be short-lived for Chris Martin next. I didn't mean that in a negative way, Mr. Martin. I meant in a positive way.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and council members. So in 2003, the county solicited for records management services under invitation to bid number 204723. The solicitation was awarded in parts. DocuShred LLC was selected for the document destruction shredding services component of the solicitation. Prior to completion of the award, DocuShred was acquired by Synthes Corporation. On August 2nd, 2004, County Council approved a 1 year with 19 one-year renewal options for document destruction shredding services with Synthes Corporation. In 2014, Synthes entered a joint venture under Shred-it US JV LLC for the document destruction shredding services previously handled by Synthes. In 2022, Stericycle Incorporated acquired Shred-it. The purpose of this request is for Baltimore County to extend the existing agreement with Stericycle Incorporated for continued use of their document destruction shredding services for all of the county's sensitive information, which includes but is not limited to protected health information as defined under HIPAA, personal information, medical record information, and confidential records. Upon council approval, the contract that was due to expire on August 1st, 2024 will have a 1-year renewal with the option for one more additional 1-year renewal option. The compensation cap will remain unchanged. Since 2004, the compensation cap for this agreement has been $1,566,599. Since then, the county has encumbered $752,940.09 and expended $660,445.59. There is currently not to exceed of $813,658.91 remaining.
Thank you. Mr. Martin, any additional, anyone have a question, comment, or thought to share with Mr. Martin? Okay, hearing none. Thank you, Mr. Martin.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, Ms. Williams, Department of Planning.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and Councilman. I'm here on behalf of Department of Housing and Community Development, requesting approval for a contract for ARC Environmental LLC to provide lead risk assessments and radon testing to determine if homes eligible for federal funded improvements contain these hazards. The contract will begin on October the 21st of this year and will go through to October the 20th of 2025 and will renew automatically for 4 additional 1-year periods with the option to extend the initial term and any renewal term in an additional 120 days. The contract provides that the compensation for these services will not exceed $384,804 for the entire 5-year period.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share with Ms. Williams? Hearing none. Thank you, Ms. Williams.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next, Ms. Schindel. You have 2 contracts?
Good afternoon, Councilman President and members of the County Council.
Forgive me, I'm a little nasally, so I apologize. The administration is requesting the approval of a contract with American Asphalt Paving LLC and ATC Corp., otherwise known as American Tennis Courts, for the labor, material, tools, equipment, and supervision to renovate tennis courts and basketball courts at various county locations and sites. The total compensation we are requesting is $30,027,385 on this contract. It is a one-year contract with 4 one-year renewals. These contracts have a 25% MBE goal, and both vendors are MBE vendors. Currently, this was a competitively bid, chosen for best value, experience, and qualifications. As you probably are aware, we had a contract that is on the 3rd year, and we currently have to put it out to bid for various reasons. First and foremost, we are at the cap of what our not to exceed is. And also, in addition to that, there are some changes to the contract really to meet the needs of all of our constituent-based customers that we have. This current contract was rebid to the change of scope and industry standards. The county has increased the depth of each of the subbase of the court to 4 inches, which now protects the county from replacing asphalts and cracks prematurely. Asphalt replacement is now environmentally friendly because the state of Maryland now accepts recycled asphalt millings as part of the project, whereas we could not use that opportunity in the previous contract. And with that, we created a standard subbase of 4 inches to ensure the material will uphold for the length of time. This contract also allows us to do a second acrylic color coating, which is required when you use the recycled material. In addition, we added a line item to allow us to have additional choices of basketball and pickleball post to meet Rec and Parks and BCPS's requirements. They would like the flexibility of choosing what kind of post that they have for basketball or pickleball. And then also in addition, this also includes any of the fence work and perimeter concrete and sidewalk work. So instead of just going in and replacing a multi-purpose court and not looking at it holistically, this contract allows us to do that. And replace and not leave the fencing that looks terrible. So currently, we are asking for this increase of not to exceed because we have 27 current courts in our queue that are going to be done in the next 18 months. Out of those 27, 17 are ARPA funded. Most courts, I'm going to give you an average, is about $200,000 to replace each court that we're the queue to do. The county's goal, as long as the capital funding, because we support Rec and Parks, keeps coming, the county's goal is to complete 15 courts annually out of the 53 courts on the renovation matrix currently. So we hope that this has answered some of the auditor's questions that they asked for us so that we can make sure that everybody understands we have a really strong replacement plan. I'm sure you've seen that going on in your community. And we want to continue with that valuable process for your constituencies.
Thank you, Ms. Schindel. Councilman Jones?
Yes, Ms. Schindel, I want to thank you and the administration for taking on this and keeping it going, I should say. It's been an issue, a sore spot for me for quite some time, as I'm sure you are aware. I've always felt like Baltimore County is better than that. You know, when I go to other jurisdictions and I see basketball courts, and when I first took office, we had this crazy idea that we were going to take down all the basketball courts. So you have a, you know, $160 million high school sitting there with no rims on the basketball court. It just looked terrible. It was horrible. And I'm so thankful that we are taking serious steps to fix all the ones and put them on a timeline. I would like to talk to you a little more offline. I've been in contact with a company that was showing me some really, really nice graphics on the courts. And their price appeared to be very reasonable compared to just painting it a solid color. And I think it would add some really, really nice pizzazz to the communities to have courts with these fancy murals on them, for a better term, you know, murals of maybe like Newtown Titans or whatever. And I just think that this is so important for the quality of life of the people here in Baltimore County. Historically, I mean, we would invest in tennis courts and then do nothing with basketball courts. And to be quite frank, I just think it was people lack of understanding of the people that were playing the basketball, and they didn't want to see them coming. And we went through this, for those that don't know, we went through this cycle where people in Baltimore City and other places didn't have the court, so they came out here to play. And then when they got too many people on the court, it became a problem sometimes. So we take one rim down and only have the other rim up. So that group leaves that community, go to another community to play. Now you got a flash mob there, and it went viral where we get start taking them all down, taking them down, taking them down. Next thing you know, we end up in the place where I go to Baltimore City and they got beautiful courts, and I go to Baltimore County and we have none. So I think this is a step in the right direction. And I look forward to talking to you about those color coordinated courts.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Councilman Crandall.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hi, Ms. Schindel. I just want to tell you, I appreciate the nod to pickleball and the popularity of the sport. I'm just hoping that the elementary schools that should choose pickleball posts, so you're talking about like the tennis net post.
Yeah.
Right? So they would choose between the poles for a net as opposed to poles for basketball as the court is being resurfaced.
So I think actually we can add all of it and
Okay.
have an option for tennis, pickleball option, and then basketball. So
Okay.
that's kind
Yeah,
of, we're
because
working
tennis,
with
you can,
each
I mean,
agency.
it's just a matter of where the lines are.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, and so the only thing that I ask is that this contractor put down some really soft asphalt, because when I played pickleball, I end up on the asphalt more than I actually do on my feet. And I have the scars, and I have the scars to prove it. I don't know if that's saying more about the asphalt than me as an athlete trying to, or a former athlete trying to get back to my glory days or not. But no, I think that's a good thing that all three of those activities are being considered as we go through resurfacing. And I have to agree with Councilman Jones. I mean, there's not a lot more that says we don't care by leaving a recreational amenity incomplete or in substandard condition. It does not make a community feel very good about itself to have something incomplete or substandard. So appreciate your work on all this. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Sure. Councilman Crandall, did you want to ask Ms. Schindel if they could make the three-point line a little closer to the basket?
Why do you need it?
I'm sorry, I deserve that one.
Yes, you did.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Schindel.
You're welcome. I have one more fiscal matter if you'd like me to
Okay,
move
go right
forward.
ahead. Touche.
The administration is requesting the approval of contract with EARN Contractors and Colossal Contractors to provide all labor, material, tools, equipment, fuel, supervision, and all necessary incidentals to perform lead abatement and repainting services at various locations of Baltimore County. And no event shall the total compensation paid to a contractor exceed the $700,000 during the terms of this contract. It is a one-year contract with 4 one-year renewals. We have an MVE goal of 20%. It was competitively bid for best value, lowest bidder, and experienced. And I think it's pretty explanatory, but I'm happy to have any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Schindel. Any questions, comments, or thoughts? Hearing none, thank you so much, Ms. Schindel. Our next item is Ms. Faith Thomas, contract of sale, Farmside Drive.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and council members. The administration is requesting approval of a contract to acquire easement spanning approximately 0.055 acres for $17,095 for system improvements to the Gunpowder and White Marsh pumping stations. Timmy A. Ongoy and Susan I. Ongoy currently own the property, which is located at 4115 Farmside Drive in Nottingham. It's zoned DR 5.5. The acquisition will be used for drainage and utility easements.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. Any members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share with Ms. Thomas?
Mr. Chairman?
Councilman Marks.
Yes, this is not directed at Ms. Thomas, but I've said several times that I think the Department of Public Works and Transportation needs to have a community meeting to discuss this overall project. It's a major project that will affect communities from Seven Courts all the way down to the White Marsh Mall area, and I just wanted to get that on the record again. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Marks. Any additional questions for Ms. Thomas? Thank you, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you.
And now we're on our final item, and that is Mr. James Benjamin.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. Fiscal Matter 9 concerns a contract with Industrial Organizational Solutions, Inc., that's IOS Solutions, to provide for the continued development and validation of a new written examination for police officer and police cadet applicants. These services are required pursuant to a settlement agreement entered into in the matter of the U.S. versus Baltimore County. This was a federal case that was settled, I believe, back in 2019. In this matter, the DOJ had alleged that the county had developed and issued a series of discriminatory written exams to screen entry-level police officer applicants. The settlement agreement, among other things, requires development of this examination plan and new written examinations for the positions of police officer and police cadet. And both the examination plan and written examinations require express approval of the DOJ. Allow me to give you a bit of background. On July 6, 2021, the council approved a 2-year and 3-month contract not to exceed $200,000 with IOS Solutions to develop and validate a new written examination for police officer and cadet applicants in accordance with Title VII, the Uniform Guidelines on Employee Selection Procedures. Services included developing a work plan that detailed each plan of the design, development, and validation of the exam, with estimated timelines for each stage and a timeline for producing information for review by the DOJ. I'm advised that the DOJ had requested additional work revisions in March of 2023. Expenditures under the contract had totaled $199,393, but mistakenly included compensation for work performed subsequent to the contract's October 5th, 2023 expiration. The purpose of the proposed contract here is to compensate the contractor for the additional work completed over the prior contracts not to exceed amount, which is $64,280, and testing booklets, which is the amount of $4,000, and to provide for an additional contingency of $46,474 for future work in the event necessary. The county charter, section 715, requires that any contract must be approved by the county council before it's executed if the contract is for services for a term in excess of 2 years or involving the expenditure of more than $25,000 per year. The proposed contract commenced October 6, 2023, prior to council approval, and continues through June 30th, 2026, which, by the way, is the end of the settlement agreement period. The commencement date is October 6, 2023, because the prior contract expired October 5th, 2023. Evidently, there was confusion with contract payments through the workday process, and my office sincerely apologizes for the charter violation. However, I'm advised we have systems in place to monitor this process more effectively moving forward. So for the proposed contract, compensation may not exceed $114,754 for the entire approximate 2-year and 9-month term. The county may terminate the agreement by providing written notice. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Benjamin. Do any of the members have any questions? Councilman Crandall?
No, sir, not on this matter.
Okay.
Just as a wrap up.
Any additional questions on this matter? Hearing none, I'll thank you, Mr. Benjamin. I'll turn it over to Councilman Crandall.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to let everybody know, I received a news alert on my phone as I was diligently listening to Mr. Benjamin. Sorry, James. First day of school yesterday, some of you may already know this, 142 citations issued with the new school bus cameras yesterday. Seems like quite a large number. And I know that's something that the administration, the council, the police department, and the school system all played a role in. And I do believe it's a system, not a firm believer in cameras in general, but when it comes to our kids coming on and off of school buses and school buses in general, any measure of safety is a good one, but 102 violations in one day for Baltimore County seems like quite a bit to me. So just urge everybody, be safe when we're out on the roads, follow the rules. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Crandall. And I'd like to add on your comments. You may recall, Councilman Crandall, we had a pretty spirited debate on when this came before the council. And I appreciate the administration moving this forward. It's something I really believe in. There were concerns about the level of the fine, but I think during our deliberations, this fine, how many did you say, Mr. Crandall?
I believe they were warnings. I think that's what.
Yeah, well, how many though?
106, I'm sorry, 100. This is according to WBFF, Fox 45, 162 warning citations issued by Baltimore County bus enforcement cameras on first day of school.
And so all of those 165, you said?
162.
162. All of those were 100% preventable just by taking your time, stopping. I think all of us know that we go to community meetings, and the number one issue we hear, I can say clearly for my district, but I think some of my colleagues will agree, is number one, far and away, is speeding and reckless driving and aggressive driving. And so now our kids are on school buses. And so let's hope that that pattern doesn't continue with our school buses. I think this is a great program. If we need to get that number down to 0, not 162. It needs to be 0. There's no excuse whatsoever. Nobody is in that much of a hurry that they want to risk running over a child. Nobody. And so thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Crandall. And I think this concludes our meeting, unless anyone has any additional comments. We will reconvene at 6 o'clock. Thanks, everybody.